Have you ever felt like you were making progress, like you were finally getting somewhere in your healing journey, only to feel like everything suddenly falls apart? Like you keep hitting the same damn wall over and over again, no matter how much work you put in. It's like you think you master something, but then something happens and suddenly you're right back where you started, right? Like I used to think that I was moving forward. I was reading, doing journaling, learning everything I could, but no matter what, I kept finding myself stuck in the same cycle. And I started to wonder, why do I keep ended up here? Why does it feel like no matter how much I do, it just doesn't last? And that's when I realized something huge. I didn't have the tools to hold on to the progress that I was making. It wasn't that I wasn't healing. It was that I didn't know how to stabilize the healing that I had already done. TTT. And that's exactly what we're talking about today on this podcast, stabilization. Just like I promised in episode 3, today we're going to dive into step 2 of the Safe With Me foundational healing framework. This step is what holds everything together. It's what makes healing sustainable. Without it, progress feels temporary. You'll start, you'll stop, and you'll feel good for a moment, and then something happens and you'll spiral right back out of control. Now, in this episode, we're going to break down what stabilization is and why it's the glue to your foundational healing. Okay. 2, how your nervous system is fighting against you and how to work with it, your nervous system instead of against it. 3, how to create the tools, support, and routine to help you stabilize and actually hold on to the progress you made. But before we dive into that, I want to welcome back my listeners. And for those who are new here, hi, welcome. And I am happy that you are here today. And I want to introduce myself. Hi, I am Rose, and I'm your host here at A Sisters Love Podcast. And I'm just one woman with one voice, healing and helping other women heal. This is a space where we help women feel safe in their healing journey, love themselves, and create generational healing. Yes, create generational healing. So if you've been searching for a sisterhood that's judge free, supportive, and real, then you are in the right place. I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode of a Sisters Love podcast. And don't forget to join our Facebook group, Sister Let's Heal Together, where we take the conversations deeper and support each other beyond this podcast.
Welcome to A Sister's Love, the podcast that helps women who are healing by having those deep conversations, giving practical advice and words of encouragement. Come on, let's talk about it.
Now, let's get into what stabilization actually is, because a lot of people hear the word and think, okay, but what does that actually mean, right? Stabilization is the ability to hold on to your progress. It's what allows you to build something solid instead of constantly feeling like you're making progress just to lose it again when life gets complicated, right? I remember a time in my healing where I thought that I was doing everything right. I was reading those books, journaling, and having those deep conversations about my past. So I was really trying to understand why I was the way I was. I would sit for hours trying to piece it all together. But why did I stay in the relationships that drained me? Why did I feel like I had to prove my worth to be loved? These are conversations I was having with myself. Why did I shut down anytime someone raised their voice? You know what I'm saying? Why? Why did I let people walk over me just so I wouldn't feel abandoned? You know, these are the things that I used to go through in my head. I was connecting all the dots, figuring out how my childhood played a role in my choices, how witnessing my mother pain shaped my expectations for love, and how the things I went through left imprints on me that I didn't even realize. But then something would happen. I'll get stressed out. Someone would say something that triggers me. Life would throw me off balance. And suddenly I was back to my old ways, shutting down, over explaining, self isolating, people pleasing, or spiraling into self doubt. That's when I realized I wasn't actually healing. I was just collecting information, and I didn't have anything in place to help me hold all that progress I was making when things got hard. That's where stabilization comes in. And that's where it comes through. What now? What is stabilization? Stabilization is the process of creating emotional, mental, and physical steadiness so that healing isn't something that you lose when life gets difficult. What keeps you grounded when you feel triggered? What allows you to keep moving forward when stress hits? It what's helped you stay consistent in your healing rather than constantly feeling like you're making progress, then losing it when the second something happens. Now, why stabilization is crucial to healing? Because without stabilization, healing feels unstable. You start to feel like you're doing all the work, but nothing is sticking. Like no matter how much progress you make, you're always one bad day away from slipping back into old habits. And that's the reason for it's simple. Your brain will always default back to what it knows. If you don't have stabilization, your brain will continue repeating old habits and survival response, even if they don't serve you anymore. Stabilization is what allows you to sustain the healing that you already started so that you can actually get the healing you need. It's not about stopping bad days from happening. It's about having the tools to structure and support systems in place to keep moving forward, even when those things happen. And that's why stabilization is important. It's the important step in foundational healing because without it, you're going to keep reacting to life instead of actually living it.
Hey, beautiful. Let's take a quick break and let's talk about something I think might help you right now. There was a point in my healing journey where I had to be real with myself. What I was doing wasn't working. I felt emotionally off balance. I kept hitting the same wall. No matter what I tried, I felt stuck. And when I finally sat with it, I realized I didn't feel safe. Not in my body, not in my emotions, and not even within myself. That's when everything shifted because I finally understood that the lack of safety was the reason I couldn't move forward. And if you feel that way, like something is missing in your healing, I want to introduce to you my workbook collection, Healing a Survivor. It's built around my 3-step framework called Safe With Me, and it breaks it into micro steps to help you create safety, find stabilization, and reconnect with yourself. If you're in a place where nothing is working and you know something is missing, I want you to give my collection a try. Click the link in my show notes.
So now that we understand what stabilization is and why it's important, let's talk about why you still feel stuck and why even when you're doing the work, you keep getting pulled back into old habits, old reactions, and old survival patterns. This is where your nervous system comes in because if your body has spent years operating in survival mode, it's not just going to shut that off overnight. Even when you want rest, even when you want to feel safe, there's a part of you that resists it because it doesn't know how to sit with that. So let's break this down. How does your nervous system play a part in why you can't rest and why you feel this constant resistance in your healing journey? So let's talk about the biggest things that keeping us from actually healing and feeling stable in your nervous system, right? So I know that it might sound strange, like why would my body fight against me feeling better? But here's the thing, your nervous system doesn't care about your healing. It cares about keeping you safe. And if your body has learned that safety means being controlling, defensive, yelling, isolating, people pleasing, then that's exactly what it's going to keep doing because that's how it kept it so safe in the past. And that's exactly what is going to keep happening. But the problem is that you're not in the past anymore. You're grown. You left the situation, you started healing, but If your body hasn't caught up, it will keep reacting like you're still there. So, how do we know if you're in this survival mode? The first sign that you're actually still stuck in the survival mode is your mind is anywhere but the present, is in the past or the future. You're constantly reliving the past, thinking about the last time something went wrong, replaying old conversations in your head, preparing for something that already happened. You're searching for safety in the past instead of the present. You're always jumping ahead, trying to predict what could go wrong, assuming what happened, mentally rehearsing the disaster that hasn't even happened yet. You're searching for safety in the future. Anxiety. And that's because the present doesn't feel safe. When your body believes that the present moment is unsafe, it looks for different locations to feel safe, either back in the past, where at least you know what happened, or in the future, where you can try to control what might happen. But the problem is that you cannot actually feel safe in a place that doesn't exist anymore. The only place that you can actually create safety is right here, right now, in the present. This is how your nervous system keeps you stuck, and it takes past experiences and project them onto the present. It convinces you that you're unsafe even when you're not. And when you live like this for years, it's exhausting. So if your nervous system is working against your healing, how do you get it to work with you instead? So, one, recognizing the patterns and triggers. Okay. So the first step is paying attention to when and where this is happening. When do you start overanalyzing? When do you feel that familiar sense of panic? What triggered it? Like, for example, does conflict make you shut down because growing up, conflict always led to something bad? Do you panic when someone cancels plans because your brain jumps to, they don't really care about me? Do you feel unsafe in calm relationships because every time things were peaceful in the past, something bad followed? Your nervous system isn't reacting randomly. It is responding to a pattern. And once you see those patterns, you can start interrupting them. Now, two, how do we interrupt those automatic responses? This is where you catch yourself in the moment, in the present. Next time you feel yourself spiraling, whether that's shutting down, feeling like you're having to defend yourself, or waiting for something bad to happen, pause. Just take a second. Where in your mind right now, and I'm in the past reliving something old, and I'm in the future predicting something that hasn't even happened yet. Is there an actual threat right now? Or am I reacting to something my body remembers? What's the truth about this moment? What is the truth that's happening in the moment? Because 9 times out of 10, the things that you're bracing for isn't actually happening. It's once you recognize that, you'll restrain your body and respond differently. Now, number three, regulate instead of reacting. Regulate instead of reacting. When you react out of survival, you're usually doing one of the two things: avoiding the past, running away, or shutting down, ignoring what's coming up, trying to control the future, overthinking, preparing for the worst, or assuming something bad is about to happen. But stabilization is about staying present. Instead of running backwards or jumping forward, you bring yourself back to right now. Feel your feet in the ground. Take a deep breath and say out loud, I am here. I am safe. This moment is different. Find one thing that reminds you of the present. Touch something near. Notice the sounds in the room. Remind yourself where you are. Because every time you do this, you're teaching your body that it doesn't have to react the same way anymore. Now, number four, showing your nervous system that stability is safe. This is where a lot of people get stuck. It's not enough to just tell yourself you're safe. You have to show yourself you're safe. And that means comparing what you used to do with what you're doing now. Old coping mechanisms. Maybe in the past, when you felt overwhelmed, you shut down. You ignored your feelings, avoid people, burden yourself with distractions. The new coping mechanism, now that you're practicing pausing, check in with yourself. Let yourself sit with the discomfort instead of running from it, okay? At first, your body will fight this. It will tell you, hell no, this isn't safe. This feels wrong. Go back to what we know, right? That's what it's going to say. But you have to prove to yourself that this new way of doing things is actually safe. So, how do you do that? How do we do that? Look at the results. When you avoid your feeling, does it actually help or does it make things worse? Remind yourself of the truth. I used to think shutting down kept me safe, but it actually kept me stuck. This way is uncomfortable, but it's moving me forward. Track your progress. Notice when you handle things differently, even if it's small, the more evidence you collect, the more your body starts to believe it. And once your nervous system trusts that this new way is actually better, that's when the automatic reactions start to change. And also bringing awareness to what you know that you didn't see before. We have to bring awareness to what we haven't seen. Automatic is just keep going, right? When you're on autopilot, we just keep going without thinking. We're just reacting. Once we bring it to our awareness, that gives us some power over it. Because now we have a say so in what happens next. Awareness. Now that we talked about what's been keeping us stuck and how our nervous system plays a role in that, the next step is actually making stabilization a real part of our lives. Because it's one thing to understand it, but it's another thing to actually live it, right? And that's where most people get frustrated. Because just knowing that you need stabilization doesn't automatically create it. You can have all the awareness in the world, but if you don't have the practical tools, daily routines, and the right support system to reinforce it, you'll keep falling back into the old survival mode methods. So now let's talk about what it actually takes to implement stabilization in your healing journey so that you're not just learning about it, but actually experiencing it. Let me start by saying understanding healing and actually living it is two different things. You can read every book, take every course, and gain every insight in the world. But if you do not have the right tools, routines, and support system, you'll keep reverting back to your old default setting. Stabilization is about breaking out of those old cycles by making sure that you have the structure in place to hold it all together so that you can progress. So let's talk about what that actually looks like. There are three key places and pieces that I use to help me with my stabilization. That's tools that help you create safety in the moment, routines that reinforce the stabilization over time, and support systems that remind you that you are not alone in this process. Let's start with tools. Let's talk about what tools that I use that I feel that was very helpful. Creating tools that helps you reach your state of safety. When I say tools, I'm talking about real life strategies that help you regain a sense of stabilization when things feel overwhelming. The goal isn't just to calm down, it's to train your nervous system to recognize that you are safe, even in old fears and triggers. It's about interrupting survival instincts and bringing awareness to what actually is happening so that you don't slip back into automatic reaction. Here are some of the real life stabilization tools that I use. Breath work, physically resetting your system. When stress builds up, control your breathing can send a signal to your brain that you are safe. Try inhaling for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and repeat until your body starts to settle down. Another one is grounding, breaking out of emotional overwhelm. When your thoughts are racing, bring your focus to the present moment. Look around. Name 5 things that you see, 4 things that you feel, 3 things that you hear, 2 things that you smell, and 1 thing that you taste. This can help disrupt the spiraling thoughts, right? Another one is body movement. Releasing build up tension. When emotions feel stuck, move, shake your hands, right? Stretch, take a short walk. Your body holds onto stress. Move and release it. Another great way is affirmation. Affirmations rewire, challenging negative thoughts. If your automatically thought is, I am not safe, or I messed things up, challenge that belief. Say, right now, I am okay and I deserve stabilization. Your mind may not believe it right now, but repetitiveness rewires, right? When you keep doing it over and over and over. Emergency exit. When you're triggered, have a to-go action plan for when things feel overwhelming. This could be stepping outside, playing a song that soothes you, writing down what you're feeling before reacting. The goal is to create a space between the trigger and the reaction, a gap. These are tools. These tools aren't about shutting down your emotion. They're about helping you stay present with them in a way that feels safe and manageable. Over time, will retrain your nervous system to respond differently. Now, the second one is building routines that reinforce stabilization. Tools can help you in the moment, but routines create a long-term stabilization. And the routines aren't just about discipline, they are about safety signals for your brain. Now, your nervous system needs stability to be around. So here are the routines that reinforce stability. If you struggle with people pleasing, set a rule for yourself. No immediate yes response. Give yourself 24 hours before committing to anything so that you can check in with your needs first. If you struggle with low self-worth, start a daily self-recognition practice. Every morning, list 1 thing that you love about yourself and 1 thing that you handled well yesterday. That rewires your brain to acknowledge that you are growing. If you tend to over explain yourself, pause before responding. Instead of feeling like you need to justify yourself, ask, do I actually need to explain this, or is what I said enough? If you isolate when overwhelmed, create a connection checkpoint. Choose 1 person to check in with weekly, even if it's just a quick voice note. Keeping a small connection prevents you from fully disconnecting. If you feel out of control in your life, set a stabilization plan for a week. Identify 3 different things that you can do in your schedule. You can create small meals, preparing bedtimes, and anchor yourself. If you struggle with emotional regulation, make a reset routine. Every night, write down 1 thing that was hard for today, 1 thing that you need to do tomorrow. This helps to close out the day mentally instead of carrying stress into the next. 3, creating a support system that reminds you that you're not alone. Let's talk about something that a lot of us struggle with, accepting support. When you spend most of your life in survival mode, you're used to handling things alone. Dependent on others can feel risky, like you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But the truth is, stability isn't just built internally, it's reinforced by having the right people around you. Support doesn't mean relying on others to do the work for you. It means trusting that people around you will actually show up, not just physically, but emotionally. It's knowing that when you reach out, you won't be met with judgment, disapproval, or guilt tripping. That the people in your life won't make you feel like you're a burden, and needing support won't minimize your struggles and won't turn the conversation back to them. Instead, they'll listen, they'll sit with you in this discomfort. They'll validate your feelings without trying to fix it. And most importantly, they'll remind you that you do not have to carry everything alone. Now, here's what real support looks like. People who respect your boundaries, not just people who there, but people who don't drain you. Stabilize comes from being around people who makes you feel safe, not those who make you feel small. People who reflect your progress back to you when you deep in healing. It's easy to feel like you're going in circles. A strong support system helps you remind you how far you came. a safe space to express yourself, whether it's a community or journal, a small support group. Having a space where you can release what you've been holding on inside is crucial for emotional stability. Knowing when to ask for help. Stabilization isn't about handling everything yourself. It's about knowing when to lean on support instead of struggling in silence. If you feel yourself spiraling, reach out. Healing isn't about proving you can do it alone. It's about allowing yourself to be heard. Stabilization is what allows healing to last. It's not about feeling perfect. It's altogether. It's about having the structure to hold on to the progress you made. And that foundation is about building together. Tools that help you create safety in the moment, routines that reinforce long-term stability, support systems that remind you that you do not have to do this alone. Because healing isn't just about knowing what to do, it's about having the structure to actually live it. And when you have that, that's when real lasting change happens. All right, let's bring it all together. Today, we talked about stabilization, what it really is, and why it's the glue that holds your healing foundation together. Because without it, everything else, your growth, your progress, the work you put in becomes unstable. It slips through the cracks. So we broke down how your nervous system plays a role in keeping you stuck, why it reacts the way it does, and how to start to work with it instead of feeling like you're constantly fighting against it. And we walk through ways to create real stabilization, from grounding techniques to building daily routines that support your healing, to surrounding yourself with people who remind you that you're not in this alone, right? Because healing isn't just about the insights, it's about having the right tools, routines, and support system to hold on to the progress that you made. So before we go, I want you to reflect. Where in your life do I feel the most unstable? And what is one small step that I can take today to create more safety and support in my life and for myself? Now, if today's episode helped you, then you're definitely going to want to tune in to the next episode, because we're going to talk about something that so many of us struggle with: feeling disconnected from ourselves. We're diving into why you feel distant from who you are, how survival mode pulls you away from your true self, and the most importantly, how to start rebuilding that connection. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and don't miss it. If today's episode resonated with you and you feel like you need more support or you'll love access to more resources like this, I'll love for you to join our Facebook group called Sister Let's Heal Together. It's where we talk about this podcast on a deeper connection. We build skills together and we support each other in real time. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode today? Message me, drop a comment in the group, or take a moment and just reflect. Until next time, take care of yourself. Signing off, your sister to love, Rose. Bye.